You tapped in with the Questions Hip Hop Podcast. We're back at it with another Making Illmatic episode. My name is Sean Kantrowitz. I'm your host, and I am joined by my Making Illmatic co-host, MidaZ the Beast.
What's good? What's good? We back in the saddle, man. Back in the saddle.
Back in the saddle in more ways than one, because we are joined for a second time. We got IMAKEMADBEATS straight out of outer space, Memphis. Unapologetic is in the house. What's good?
Everything is good. So I'm here to make another series of hard decisions that eventually get me, ridiculed on social media.
Oh,
Which,
man.
by the way, you know what I'm saying? I need you to, hey, when you post this, bro, you know what I'm saying? Make sure for those who have never witnessed this before that they know we have to make cuts, man. Like it's nothing personal. You know what I'm saying?
All nuance gets lost. People don't read. They don't understand. I take so many efforts to frame that, like, this isn't hatred. Like, the whole point of this is that we're cutting things. It doesn't work. But
Okay,
we just reposted the last time that we had you on. We did the Wu-Tang Forever album back in 2022. We just recently reposted a clip from it, which, by the way, got your boy in some major, I guess, internet rap beef with Tequitha, but which was not on my scorecard for 2026. Tequitha, we love you. But yeah, everybody was coming at me in the comments like, you can't cut this. And I was like, what's your 10? And many of them responded without impossible in the 10. So, like, what are we talking about?
The worst, attack we ever had, though, was when we started talking, and it wasn't quite the same thing, but we were talking the cannabis episode. But the thing about the cannabis episode was, I was like, yo, man, this ain't so bad. I'm getting killed. Yo, why you hate cannabis? I said it wasn't bad. You know what I'm saying? But it's the culture. It's the culture of clickbait. People don't listen. People don't pay it. And they just come at you for everything. The internet is a cesspool, man. It's bad.
Sean said it best, man. Like, nuance is like an abacus. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just an old thing that people I don't even see much anymore.
Like an abacus.
Yo, straight up, it's like a sundial, yo. Like, let's tell the time with his sundial.
That cannabis episode, Sha Stimuli was going crazy, and MidaZ and I were just like we shout out to Sha, but we were very much like, oh, can you expand on that? Can you explain that? And everybody in the comments was like, fuck all of you, especially the two guys who aren't Sha Stimuli.
The whole clip was Sha Stimuli talking. And then they were like, none of you know anything about hip hop. What the fuck I did? I'm just here for the ride, baby.
But you know what though? I've come to the conclusion, man, like, you have not escaped your bubble unless you're running into this type of energy. Like, this,
for sure,
this is a sign of success. Running into people who just angry and don't understand nuance. It's literally like hitting 88 miles per hour. It's just like, all right, now it's time to go back to the future. Success.
Yeah. Speaking of success, before we hop into it, IMAKEMADBEATS, is there anything you want to plug? Let the people know what they should know about what you have going on.
Yeah, man. IMAKEMADBEATS. I'm the CEO, founder, and head producer at Unapologetic. Check us out. We have an app called the Unapologetic World app. It is currently only available for iOS devices, but it will soon be back available for Android devices. Man, come to Memphis. Come to outer space. Come to the Idea District. Go get coffee at Coffee Black. Stop by the Weirdest Normal store. And come and see what we built here in Memphis.
You know what it is. We are taking an album. We're trimming it down to 10 songs by hell or high water. And this one is, for me personally, a tough one. We are doing Outkast ATLiens, which was suggested by IMAKEMADBEATS. Can you explain to us, Mad, why this one is one you wanted to tackle?
So let me be ultra transparent. It was my idea to tackle this one because it's one of my favorite albums. Outkast's whole discography can be described as pivotal. Like, every album, you know what I'm saying, was pivotal to the culture of rap, right? And I personally, sometimes it's a Criminal, but most of the time, my favorite Outkast album is ATLiens, right?
Absolutely. Same.
Yeah. Now, with that being said, Sean, as soon as I got off the phone with you, I was like, yo, why did I say that, bro? You know what I'm saying? Because I have to, I checked the track list and I think it's 15 songs, something like that.
15. Yep.
Yeah, 15 songs. I got to scratch 5 songs off here. Oh my God.
A lot of times people misunderstand the assignment, and we've seen that happen live with the guest where they pick their favorite album, and then we sort of have to remind them, the exercise here is that we need to cut songs, and it's just
Yeah.
I felt stressed as well. This is an album I didn't really have to go. A lot of times we'll review or we'll go back. This album is part of my DNA, so I know it very well. But I did find myself getting stressed leading up to doing this. Like, wow, you got to cut 5 songs. This is crazy. We all spent time in the South at various times. And when this album came out, I want to say we all were in different parts of the South. I was in South Florida. You were in Memphis. MidaZ, were you in Orlando in 1996?
I was not in Florida. I was in Hawaii.
All right, but nonetheless, you were
It's a
in
deep South.
Florida for the the ripples, the after effects.
Sure,
We can
sure.
just say in a broader stroke, Outkast. Like an
Yeah.
Outkast was so crazy, and I think also for us, I can sort of say and speak for all of us that we were all in the South at pivotal times in our lives, but we didn't necessarily feel completely defined by what was the traditional sound of the South. There was like a lot of music from elsewhere that I think resonated with all of us as listeners, as fans, as developing artists and creatives ourselves. Outkast to me, and let me know if you guys agree, sort of represented the amalgamation of both of those things. It was undeniably South, and it rung off like crazy in all of these regions because of that. But it had a sensibility and an aesthetic which was very inspired by what you could say was a lot of lyricism, which I think time has passed, and like we can obviously the South got something to say. We all understand that, but like it felt like it was informed by more than what we knew about the South up to that point, or a lot of other things that we were seeing, and the West Coast. Quite honestly, I wouldn't be the first to say that I think that there's a strong Souls of Mischief influence on the first Outkast album, especially. So this record was just like it's so important to me as well, and yeah, I feel the same amount of stress that you mentioned.
Yeah, no, that was immaculately summed up. And I'll say this, like, you guys were coming from, well, Sean, you were in Florida, right? And then you were damn near in Central America, you know what I'm saying, in
Yeah.
Hawaii, you know what I'm saying? But like, I don't wanna start no beef here. But I will say this, like, being in Memphis, I think what people would more traditionally call Southern culture, it was Memphis. Memphis was, like I was growing up in like the South, you know what I'm saying? Um, and growing up listening to, you know, everything. Because y'all know me, I'm of many worlds. But having my entire childhood dominated by the city I grew up in, which was Memphis. We're talking about 3 6 Mafia. We're talking about 8 Ball and MJG. We're talking about underground legends like Tommy Wright III, Playa Fly. We're talking about, the way Memphis dominated, um, what was before it was even called trap, right? The one thing I'll never forget, and this is little facts that y'all might not know, right? Like, I want to say like 96 or something like that. We were visiting Sin out in Florida, right? We were visiting Kit, my cousin Sin, out in Florida. And he was telling me through AOL Instant Messenger that he had been communicating with Koopsta. Koopsta was a part of 3 6 Mafia. He was sending him beats, right? Right. And so Kit was hitting me up like, yo, I don't understand how to make beats for them. Like, what's the trick? You know what I'm saying? And I'm telling him, this is teenage, like 14, 15-year-old me saying, like, bro, you need a whole bunch of hi-hats. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And
He's like, well, I have some hi-hats, and you're like, double them.
I'm like, no, literally double. Go from 8 hi-hats to 16 hi-hats,
Yeah.
right? Go from to and then in some spaces you gotta go triplet. You gotta go. I'm like, bro, Just do the same beat you would normally do, slow it down to like 75, 80. You know what I'm saying? And then throw way more hi-hats in there, and at some point go, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, trust me, he will rock with that. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, we're talking about like some of the origin stories of what we call Southern hip hop today, which just became hip hop, right? We're talking about like deep roots in Memphis. So we're in Memphis listening to Southern rap, you know, at its core as it's being incubated in a way that would eventually take over the entire planet, right? And then you got this group called Outkast, you know, they dropped Southern Playalistic at first, which, you know, nobody knew was an actual Christmas jam. Shout out to the bells in the background, right? And then, you know, we all fall in love with, you know, the album just, I ain't gonna lie, man, like Southern Playalistic was cool. I rock with that. I rock with the video, you know, it was cool. But once you got the album and then you heard like how introspective that they were,
Yeah.
like that's what really sold me on Outkast, honestly. The whole pimp player thing was whatever, you know, but hearing, what's them joints, man, off the first album?
I mean, Crumbling Herb was
Crumbling
great.
Herb, woo!
Yeah.
Hootie hoo, you know what I'm saying?
Hoo-hoo.
Like,
Whew.
oh man, like hearing those joints off the first one is really what sank me. But ATLiens, bro, and I want to add some nuance to this story too. I was in Memphis when it dropped, right? But shortly after it dropped, Elevators is still on the radio, right? Shortly after it dropped, my auntie was living in Atlanta, right? My dad says, yo, let's take a trip down to Atlanta to go and visit my auntie. So we're driving through Atlanta in the heat of ATLiens dropping. Fam, you talking about a way to experience that. Like I couldn't imagine being in Compton when Good Kid, Mad City dropped. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what it was like being in Atlanta when ATLiens dropped. And hearing that album while driving through Decatur, you know what I'm saying? While driving through different parts of Atlanta and the metro, I mean, it's gonna be one of my favorite albums of all time, like easily. You know, I think, and I wouldn't be mad if to some people, you know, that's their Midnight Marauders. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Like that, I totally get it. You know, just Midnight Marauders got to me first. You know,
Yeah.
but I told that album is everything. You know,
When we talk about these albums, I think one of the best things that we do on, like what IMAKEMADBEATS just did, in telling that story, that's the best thing that we do on these things, is tell these stories about how you heard it and where it came from and how it made you feel and what your entry is. I think that's so important. And, you know, my Outkast story is interesting because I always tell folks, you know, my age, I'm 40, shit, how old am I? I'm 41. And, you know, when I get into hip hop, you know, I'm coming out the Michael Jackson era, like we all were. We were all Michael Jackson kids, I'm sure all of us, but you guys are both a little older than me. I'm very open and honest that there's parts of this is hip hop that I wasn't clued into until it was a little bit later, right? Like you heard what you heard. It was the radio and it was the people around you. You heard what you heard, right? So like I missed Midnight. I missed the Tribe Called Quest run, and I missed the De La run. I knew the singles. I heard the singles. I heard whatever played on the radio and whatever was the videos, but I wasn't getting those albums. I didn't have the older brother to pass me those albums. So those are things I had to go back to and do the knowledge. But what you learn about going back is that you miss the whole experience of hearing it in the first place. So some of those records don't hit me the same way. How I came in was I came in with Illmatic and I came in with 36 Chain because my uncle was playing that in the car. My uncle was playing Infamous. My uncle was playing like there's these different like really street New York albums is my entry. I go from Michael Jackson to that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a pretty stark switch. So anyway, I'm a full-fledged hip hop kid by the time ATLiens comes out, but I'm living in Hawaii. I'm in middle school and I'm in Hawaii. My father's in the military, so I'm in Hawaii. And I remember coming to Hawaii with a chip on my shoulder, like, don't none of y'all motherfuckers know nothing about no hip hop in Hawaii? Like, I'm the hip hop motherfucker in Hawaii. That's how I feel. So I come down there and I had met a kid or whatever. One note about Hawaii is that we were never on time for nothing. This is the 90s. If it was a hit single in the States, it became a hit single to us like 5 months later. You know what I'm saying? Like we was mad behind on everything that was going on.
Pre-internet, kids.
Pre-internet. Yeah. So I'm in this void of time where all the albums, Sean, we just did 96. All those albums that come out in like 96, I kind of get exposed to them all around the same time, even though they came out different times of the year. I'm hearing the Outkast album, I'm hearing Ghostface album, I'm hearing the Mobb Deep album, I'm hearing so many of these it was written, I'm hearing them all like almost simultaneous, right? But where the Outkast thing really sticks out, I will never forget this from my time in Hawaii, is I had heard the Southern Playalistic single. I remember the video and everything. I never listened to the album. I was a typical New Yorker on some old like, what is this South shit? Like, you know what I mean? Like, yo, what's this? I was all on that. Yo, what's this twang? I don't really fuck with that. Yo, they not Nas. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was on that time. Hey, man, I remember being at a Pajama Jam 96. Me and my man was in the corner talking about Allen Iverson coming out. We was real hype about Iverson about to come out, having this Iverson Marbury college conversation in middle school. And there was a DJ at the Pajama Jam, and he puts on Elevators. And I remember I turned around. It was dark because it was a night thing. I remember turning around and being like, what space cadet music is this? Like, I've never heard audio that sounds like this in my life. Imagine how shaken to the core you are the first time you hear Me and You. And it's like, you never heard nothing like that in your whole life. There's no music that predates Me and You that's like Me and You, bro. It's like hearing, the thing that I compare it to is like when I heard Missy and Timbaland for the first time. And I'm like, what is this? Like, this is
what it is like very original, which is what just hits
extremely
you.
original.
Like, I don't know what to compare this to. Like, I see some touch points, but this is like some different next shit. And yeah.
When I heard Pony, I was like, what sounds are these? Like, what is the construct? That's how I felt about Elevators. And that's
Pony
what
must
brought
have been
me
ringing off at the Pajama Jammy Jam.
Pony was ringing off. Pony was ringing off. But that's what brought me into, like, that's what brought me in. Because my man was like, well, that's Outkast. And I'm like, you mean them cats from that, like, yeah, I'm like, get the whole fuck out of here. Like, I didn't know they did this. And jumping into that album, it's, you know, to Matt's point, like, it's one of the great albums of all time. Like, it's real. You know, when me and Sean started this podcast, we was talking about really not doing a whole bunch of these greatest albums of all time, because how do you cut these albums? But, you know, I do think it's a good thing, because even when you go through this album of 15 tracks, if you can train your brain to just pretend that only 10 of them existed, how even stronger that would hit. And I do think there's some space for that in here.
I'm gonna just say this, man. You know, I had a reflex on some, like, damn, I gotta cut 5 tracks off this. That's insane. You know what I'm saying? Dudes was trying to, you know, throw darts at me for cutting Impossible. You know what I'm saying? Off the double CD. Like, you know, I gotta cut 5 tracks off ATLiens. And then I thought to myself, you know what? This is what I do. I do hard things. Like this, I wouldn't want to be on an easy version of this show. No, there's other people for that. You know what I'm saying? I want to throw them darts. You know what I'm saying? What's your top 10? You person that don't understand what this show is, you know what I'm saying? Like, get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to do this, so let's take the challenge and let's do it.
Let's get
I legit thought you were gonna say, you know what? They're just gonna attack Sean anyway, so who cares? You know?
Yo, that too. You know what I mean?
Hey, Sean, you saw my man said, My man said, "Yo, the white boy is why." I said, "Yo, why he gotta be the white boy?"
No, he didn't say the white boy. He said whoever that white boy is. Like,
not even the white boy. Whoever.
I was like, I'm tagged in the comments. Like, there's a lot you can do to see.
Yo,
like
and then
this.
the funniest part about it is when I was like, "Yo, why you had to do my man like that?" He like, "Oh no, we boys. Remember on the floor? Yo, how we? That's my man. Yo, you know what I mean? Like, yo, you gotta calm down."
There's never been a better time to identify. It's not like he was driving by and this was playing on a billboard. Like, you clicked on this. Anyway, we won't get into that. I think it's all pretty clear that we would regard this as a 5 mic album, like then and now. So
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, we're gonna see. And to MidaZ's point, I think this also becomes, will it be a 5 mic album in spite of cutting out, basically a third of its songs? So we're about to find out.
I forgot it has so many songs on it to keep it a hundo.
Yeah.
When you first sent the text through, I was like, he put like 12 or 13 joints on there. And then when I looked, I was like, shit, there's 15
Yeah.
joints on there. So yeah.
So anyway, and also shout out to the questions Patreon. We have a couple questions and things that they popped in. Before we get into the song by song, shout out to Chris, who said, probably my favorite Outkast album besides Stankonia. Shout out to Stankonia. Question for you guys. Do you feel the darker tone of this album as compared to their debut was at all inspired by De La Soul's darker turn in De La Soul is Dead? Seems like there could be some inspiration taken there because this album was definitely darker than Southern Playalistic. I guess insofar as maybe De La kind of modeled like an approach where they had a happy-go-lucky first album and kind of matured with the second, but I don't know. I don't see any like direct reference personally to like, oh, clearly Outkast is doing the De La thing, but I don't know. I mean, MidaZ, I know you're not super De La head in that way, but
yeah,
Mad,
this is a better question for you guys because I wouldn't have the right comparison notes.
Yeah,
I don't think I naturally would have come to that conclusion.
yeah.
I mean, if anything, right? We're talking about Outkast, Southern Playalistic. They're literally teenagers, and by ATLiens, they're more adults. And I think De La went through the same, like teenagers into adulthood, maturity, right? But I wouldn't necessarily make that link. I think if I had to look at it, maybe a little bit differently, it would just be that no, like that first album was about cracking through. You know what I'm saying? And then they cracked through. And now they wanted to talk about some real shit.
Yeah. I don't think it's a De La influence. I think it's being influenced by the same circumstances that De La was influenced by, which is just an outcome of growing up and success. So it's a 3-man vote to cut or keep. If we don't, by the time we get to the end, if we aren't down to 10, we'll have to do a lightning round. So we're going to get into it. The first song, and by the way, I've got the booklet here, so I will be reading directly from the booklet. Shout out, by the way, it's hard to imagine a compact disc now, but this is like 26 pages. There's a whole comic book in here. This was, you guys remember this? There was like so much story and world building that was happening in here. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. But we're going to hop into it with the first song produced by Organized Noise. The song is called You May Die Intro.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna be real, bro. I think this was the hardest one. Like when I listened, I just kind of just looked over it and just was like, and I just kind of listened to this a little bit earlier in the day, and I was just like, I say this is probably the hardest one because they're not rapping on it. It's not a traditional like hip hop song. You don't get either one of them on it. You know what I'm saying? And so it feels like an obvious, like, okay, if we can just get away with a cheap cut, let's just get the intro out the way.
Can't do it. can't do it easy. Can't do it easy is what I'll say.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're gonna say or what MidaZ is gonna say, but yeah, I know how I feel. I have a long history of doing exactly what you just said. It's easy to cut an intro. Also, let's just be honest. Most intros on hip hop albums are not great. It's kind of like if you had to call it the intro, it's probably a sign that it wasn't meant to be the intro. And what we often identify is you should have just opened it up with the hardest opening song. That would have been the intro. This is a hard intro. Put it to your point, it's not hard by any of the metrics that you define a hard intro song on a hip hop album. This shit hits me in my soul every goddamn time. It's so beautiful. It's short. It's a minute. I've run it back so many times before. I'll just say it first. It's a keep for me. This album cannot exist to me without this intro. It totally sets the tone and the mood. And if you were coming off the first album and now you hop into this, you are immediately told this is not the last album. This is something completely different.
I'll echo that and say, again, just coming out of Memphis, that intro for Southern hip hop, right? Like, it was just, it was what he said. It was not the last album. It was also, this is not any album you ever heard in your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's, that's one thing that I've always loved about Outkast was like, they were like Soulquarians, you know, like between the Dungeon family, they were like Soulquarians of the South. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so that's like when you listen to this album, and this is one of the reasons why I think this album, not to go too far on a tangent, but this is one of the reasons why I think this album is so great and why many of their albums are so great and they translate, right? Is because at the end of the day, right, like all of us are a fan of music and musicality, right? Like, and I would say maybe even more than we're a fan of hip hop, drums, drum samples, beat machines, orchestrated sounds. It's just music. Music always wins. Somebody with a guitar, somebody with a bass, you know what I'm saying? Playing great music always wins. And Rico Wade and the Dungeon family and Organized Noise, they prioritize that. You know what I'm saying? And when I hear that intro, I hear the most musical Southern hip hop I had heard. You know what I'm saying? Like, to start an album. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, it's I can't cut it, even though it's no Big Boy, no Dre on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, what else I'm gonna start the album with? You know what I'm saying?
Well, interesting that you say that because I cut it, right? But I fuck. All right, here we go. Well, here's my thought. This album is interesting in a million ways, but I think I don't know if this is a take that exists out there. I'm sure it does. I'm sure people have said it, but this album feels to me like the Southern response to the East Coast, West Coast beef, right? Like this album sounds to me like y'all beefing like we ain't here. Like y'all talking East Coast and West Coast, like there's not a whole thing in the middle that, you know, toward us that like we get busy too. There's a lot on this album. We're gonna go through it. There's a lot of I can rap on this album. There's a lot of it, especially crazily enough from Big Boy. There's a lot of I can rap on this album. And what's funny about it is, as much as it's dark, to me it more sounds like approving of we're hip hoppers just like y'all are. Like, don't get it fucked up. Like we get busy. So this album's interesting because even though that's the intro, for me it didn't always fit the whole album because to me it's a whole we can rap album. That's always how I hear this album. So this intro, while amazing, sticks out like a sore thumb a little bit to me. And then I think you have a built-in intro out the gate. Greetings, Earthlings. That's all you need is Greetings, Earthlings, in my opinion.
Hey, I'm gonna say this. I agree. Like, when I was first considering, damn, did we just quickly slice off the intro? You know, I thought about Greetings, Earthlings. I was like, yo, that's, you know what I mean? That would have been hard. You feel me?
Yeah, it would have been crazy.
I feel it though, but at the same time, bro, the first album did not have I came into this world high as a bird, some secondhand cocaine powder. I know it sounds absurd. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that level of like, let me be vulnerable and introspective. Like, that makes that intro make sense to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, That's why I say it sets the stage. Yes, it was them saying that. I totally see that. Like, them boys can rap, but they got deeply personal. They got,
Yeah, there's a lot of that on the album too.
they went a lot of odd places. I can't wait till we get to Extraterrestrial. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, and so there needs to be some. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I no, I was gonna say I don't see this as this is their Week in Rap album, at least not exclusively. It's a we are greater than any sum of anything that has been done. Like this, we are, you know, we're more than rap, we're more than hip hop. We're gonna like reinvent genre, and we're gonna, you know, really start to play with the form of what you think the genre is.
That's interesting because I think that's what happened. I don't think that's what they're saying. I don't think that's what they're doing. I think that's the result, but I don't think that's. It sounds to me like,
but they never said that. I can't think of an album where their lyrical motif is like, yo, we're jazz, we're rock, we're all these things. Like, I think that they, rather than talked about,
we're gonna get into Two Dope Boys. The first thing he says is, every time I rhyme for y'all, I'm looking to prove a point out the gate. Like, and then several tracks on that shit, he's doing that.
Sure.
So yeah, but I got the sense that it feels to me like a bunch of guys who felt disrespected about how the first album was received and wanted to create a great album, but at the same time be like, yeah.
You know what though? I'm gonna add a little bit of nuance on, you know, again, abacus level, you know what I'm saying? Stuff, man. You know, I think you're both right. I think MidaZ, I think you're talking about Big Boy, and I think we're talking about Dre.
That, you know what? That's probably very accurate because Big Boy is rapping to prove a point on this album.
Yeah.
I mean, he said it, but he is. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. So we're
keeping this one.
We're keeping it, you know, but maybe we'll go back. All right. We're going to move on to the second song on the album, produced by Organized Noise. This is Two Dope Boys in a Cadillac.
Look, bro, see, this is the fuck up my.
Why we just go ahead and get to, we not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yo, for real. This is you talk about fuck up a young kid's mind. I'm like, you know, Southern music to me was Ghetto Mafia. You know what I'm saying? Southern music to me was hearing early 3-6. You know what I'm saying? Like, this don't sound like none of this shit, bro. Like, what is this? This is them saying, in the beginning of his bars, he's talking this is Atlanta. Welcome to Atlanta. This Atlanta. What up? We in Decatur. What up? But it's hip hop. It's head nod. It's lyricism. But we in the South though. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was such an ill way to be like, yeah, nah, bro, y'all got it fucked up. To me, when you say the South got something to say, then you do this. This is like, remember we told y'all the South got something to say. Watch this, right? And now you come out the gate swinging. The beat's crazy. Like the beat is crazy, bro. Like the bass line on that, oh my God, it's so crazy. And then the way to jump in with the bomb, we just drop. Boom. You just like, yo, super keep. I don't know what the fuck you're supposed to do with a song like that. Like, what a great one of the great first tracks of all time on.
100%. I understand the argument how if they had opened the album with this, it still would have been crazy. You know what I mean? Like it added a level of nuance to have the actual intro on there, but this is a great first song. And it's hard. You know, the beat's hard. They're rhyming their asses off. And then at the end, like, Andre kind of like cops to the fact that he was freestyling. You know, he just kind of just trails off. And it was like, it's so dope. It's amazing. Yeah.
I just want to throw a quick shout out today to that song shouting out Memphis inadvertently by saying the word crunk, which absolutely came from Memphis. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I'm repping, just in case y'all ain't know. But at the same time, like, it was crazy being in Memphis and getting to that song and hearing him say that over a beat like that. Like, if
Yeah.
y'all don't know, that's not the kind of beats that we were saying crunk over.
I'm
You know what
saying,
I'm
bro, like,
saying?
what
Like,
are you talking
Yeah.
about? Like,
yeah. And so to hear him say that was just like, wow, and yeah, that beat, I mean, y'all know, man, like the school of hip hop that like I'm addicted to, which is the J Dilla, Pete Rock, Knots, DJ Scratch bass lines, you know what I'm saying? And so to hear that coming out of the South, you know, that bass line and that beat is
it
insane.
sounds crazy.
You know what
Yo,
I'm saying?
the greetings, Earthlings can't be understated either, bro. It's such a Dr. Manhattan moment. You know what I'm saying?
Like you said, bro, that's gotta be like top something greatest first songs of all time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's literally every part of it I could give the equal. Bro, them drums is insane. You know what I'm saying? Like the drums is insane. The piano sample. You know what I'm saying? Like it's beautiful. It
Yeah.
is a beautiful way to start an album, man. And I mean, I'm gonna be real, bro. Like this first part of the album is like Kanye first 3 albums. Like good luck trying to like it's just gonna be a whole bunch of keeps for a minute. You know
Yo,
what I'm saying?
it's a me and Sean laugh a lot because some of these albums go on runs where it's like the run in the beginning of this shit, yeah, good luck.
Rough.
Yeah.
It's rough.
I don't claim to experience like synesthesia, and I don't know if I'm influenced by the album cover, but all the beats on this album are blue and green to me. Like, you know what I mean? It's very watery. It definitely has like this very, I guess, fertile set like feel to me. And like this, when I was hearing you describe the beat and the drums, that piano and the bass, it's definitely all the blues and all the greens that are on the album cover. It's like
Yo, just
it's crazy.
you know what I'm saying?
If you're
I have the
just
album cover.
listening, if you can watch this on YouTube on our YouTube channel, but I just held up the album cover here. Yeah, it's
Yeah, I
crazy.
think that's the unanimous one right there.
Absolutely.
It's unanimous. We're going to move on to track number 3, produced by Outkast, who it would later be known as Earth Tone 3 in the liner notes. And I hadn't looked at this in a while. It says produced by Outkast for Earth Tone Ideas. That was the initial production name that they took when it was them and Mr. DJ. But this is the title track, ATLiens.
That's the number one joint that people was singing in school. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
There's something about that hook, throw your hands in the air, right? That just had everyone saying that in the hallways,
Yeah. It's a great hook.
It's an amazing hook.
It's an amazing hook. It's one of the great hooks.
It's funny, like listening right now though.
I'm gonna cut this song. No, I'm just kidding.
No, not at all. It's okay. Off top, it's not getting cut. I'm keeping it. But like, it's funny because Outkast has always had a funk party kind of element to him. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But like coming out of the mid '90s, does that joint sound kind of West Coast? You know what I'm saying? Like, in a way to like. MidaZ, earlier you said like, yo, we want to show that we here, right? And that we can do all of this stuff, right? Does that kind of feel like an ode to like, hey, yo, this is our version of like, you know what I'm saying? Y'all, the reason, because that's what we used to talk about is that New Yorkers, like on the East Coast, on the 2 and the 4, your head is down, right?
Yep.
On the West Coast, your head is up. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Right? And on that one, you want to do.
Yep.
You know
yeah, you want to hit the snare with the back of your head, not the front of your head. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's ill. That's ill. One thing I would add to that though, what's funny, and this is why I say this is they do a lot of things on this album. So let me not, when I say this next statement, it's not to minimize other things that they do on this album. But this is a rap album. These is 22, 23-year-olds telling motherfuckers they could rap. Like, this song is literally the same song as the first song. Just raps.
In terms of what it's trying to do or what it's supposed to do.
In terms of what it's trying to do. The only difference is it's literally the first song with a better hook. Like,
yes.
The drums are still stupid. The bass line, it's a really dope beat close in BPM. You know what I'm saying? And and Big Boy, who by the way opens up like 90% of the songs with the first verse, right? And he comes out the gate like, nigga, I can rap. Like, that's the first verse out the jump, like, of this joint. This joint, to me, has a very similar setup as the song right before it. Like, it's two songs that in a row.
I understand.
If this song was any less phenomenal, we could cut it because it's almost just like the first one, in my opinion. It's just that they're two songs of similar ilk, but they're also of similar 10 out of 10. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't do shit with it. That's my take on it. First of all, it's a keep.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
It's a keep. It's a keep.
But,
This is one of the greatest rap songs of all time. Like,
Of all
there's
time.
just no way around it. Their flows are just impeccable. By the way, I just was doing the math when you said that. They were 21 or not older than 21 when this came out, which means that they recorded it probably when they were 20. So they were older than they were, obviously, on the album that preceded it. But these are still essentially, by what we can now understand as men of a certain age, these are still basically kids. You know what I mean? Like, so
Absolutely.
it's absolutely insane. And, you know, shout out, like, Big Boy's flow is just impeccable on this. Again, I think that there's like a very strong, like, still kind of angular souls of mischiefy, like flipping the styles and internal patterns and all of that. But like, just imagine if you were like listening to this for the first time and you didn't have any context as to who Outkast was, and you heard that first verse into the hook, you were like, wow, that was incredible. Obviously, this guy who rapped first is the best rapper. We'll see what comes next. And then Andre comes in, and like, I'm not saying that he like smokes him on the song. I think that they really are neck and neck on this song, but just from a completely different angle. Because the one thing I will say is that, like, I think it's been throughout almost all of their career, but Andre was always going to hit you with more sort of like tangible and like emotional things. Like, I guess I don't want to diminish like Big Boy, but like say like Andre went a little deeper with a lot of the lyrics, where like Big Boy's verses and his lyrics were kind of more about the stunt. It was about like the flex. It was a little bit more surface level stuff. So to have both of that, but they're both like just rhyming like fucking machines is crazy. It's crazy.
It's important to also note that both of those things are important to hip hop, right? Like you don't like they presented a perfect balance, and I think it's easy for those who don't. I'll fall back from dissing people. All I'm gonna say is, like, it's, you know, a lot of times Dre will get a response or to get some level of respect because he may have went deeper into more vulnerability, more personal and social issues, right? And then Big Boy didn't and stayed more on the surface, stayed more stylistic, more flex, more braggadocious, right? Right. It's easy for people who only value this to feel like this was better than this, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But this is rap. Everybody ain't trying to be this all the time, and everybody ain't trying to be this all the time, right? And so that's why the pairing of the two was so perfect.
Such an ill dichotomy, yeah.
Yeah, if they were smart, they would have created an album and a concept that explained that they were two halves of birth signs, and if they combined it together, you know, but you know, it was a missed opportunity. I think also to that point, it's easier for people who are perhaps not as well versed in the science and the technique behind this to relate more to the, oh, that was deep and personal, that made me feel something, therefore it is superior. Whereas if you've studied rap and you've studied cadences and flows and patterns, I don't think that the layman necessarily is going to hear that and instantly identify like, oh, he's executing on a crazy level, in the same way that more people could just be like, oh, I felt something that was dope, it made me think, therefore that has hit the bar. But Big Boy is a monster on this album.
He's an absolute monster. And I feel you on that. I think when people listen to words, but like, in my opinion, like Big Boy is like James Brown. It's the patterns. It's the, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, shout out to what James Brown was saying, but it was the energy and the bounce and all of those things that made James Brown, you know. And just because James Brown wasn't as deep as Donny Hathaway did not change how impactful he was, you know. And yeah, one thing I just really wanted to say too was just that, like, just to point out again, as the king of nuance, the king of abacus rhymes, you know what I'm saying? Nah, man, nah. This was the first joint was like, okay, like this is an opening song, this is an opening vibe. Especially because this is produced by Outkast. This is very much the two rappers saying we need a party song.
I mean,
You know what I'm saying? We
that
need a
part too.
jam.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like very clear down to okay, you know, the sample, you know what I'm saying? The way everything about it is
The
like
way the
we
chick
need
comes
a
in on the
jam
hook, the
for
way
the
the
party.
music changes on the hook. Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Especially because it was built by them. You know they intentionally said that. Absolutely.
And this is the way we was making albums. I gotta have this type of song. I gotta have this type of song. I gotta have this type of song. So, you know what I'm
They needed a
saying?
party jam.
Yeah. Well, hold on. One more thing too. The bass line. Let's just say that one time.
Big shout out to
Hey,
all they
that part.
bassists.
Oh, come on, bro.
Even just letting it rock with just the drums and the bass was crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just big shout out to again, man. Big shout out to Organized Noise, man. Like,
yeah, we'll give a shout out to Preston Crump too, Rob Van Vranken, the producer of this show. He said we got to shout him out. You know, he was the session player. I don't know if he played on this one or not, but he played on a lot of the songs on this album. You know, did a bunch of work with a bunch of artists, but the cavalcade of live musicians that Organized Noise was bringing it in, but still sounding, it didn't sound cheesy. It didn't sound like, you know, churchy, or it didn't sound like, oh, they're trying to combine two worlds. They were able to like mix all of these elements, and it still felt very hip hop and futuristic, and have all of this musicality. And sometimes you even hear it on some of these songs in the fade out. You'll hear, you know, oh, now he's doing another riff, or now he's doing something that's different than the main loop that played through the song. So super dope. Shout out to all the musicians on this album.
absolutely.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna move on. We're keeping ATLiens. We're moving on to track 4, also produced by Outkast. It is Wheelz of Steel.
Oh man.
Oof.
The first rappers to ever say cod liver oil in a rap, maybe.
I would think so.
I have a thing where, like, when I'm writing rhymes, I'll say a word and be like, "Am I the first person to ever say this in a rap?" I'm probably the first person to ever say this in a rap. Pretty sure that's the first and possibly only person to say cod liver oil in a rap. So, shout out to 3 Stacks for that. Listen, I love how hip hop this fucking album is, bro. Like that's one of the things that I don't know that people, when you talk about Outkast, I don't know if the word hip hop is one of the first 3 or 4 things that you talk about when you talk about Outkast. But Outkast is them boys is hip hoppers. They you know, B-boys. You know what I'm saying? Like this is what these are kids that grew up on Slick Rick and all of that. The 80s hip hop that we love so much. Like they grew up on that shit too. You hear it all throughout the record, the influences from the Rakims and the Slick Ricks and all the 80s guys. And this song is one of them. Big Boy's flow on this is an 80s flow. He pulled the 80s flow right out on this shit, right? Like out the gate. I just love it. And then love the way the cuts is laid on this shit is so stupid. Like, get the fuck out of here, man.
The fact that the cuts is a verse. You know what I'm saying? Like the hook come back in after the cuts. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right. Stupid. This is dumb.
Yeah, and it's also cool that like they did what is sort of like a DJ tribute song in 1996. If you were to look at it on paper, you would have been like, oh, I know what this is going to sound like. A group is going to do a tribute to their DJ. We've heard it before on albums from the 80s. Maybe they're going to like build upon that. This doesn't sound like anything you would expect for that on paper. It still lives in this like weird, watery, alien world that the whole album motif is based around, but they made a DJ tribute song out of that. So yeah, this is an automatic keep for me as well. I promise you we're going to start cutting songs we don't want to, but it just hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. Sean, we got to look back and see what the record might be for how deep we got into an album before the first cut. That'll be maybe somebody on the Patreon knows, but that'll be something to look at because this might be one of those albums.
Yeah. All right. We're going to move on to track number 5 on the album. This one is produced by Organized Noise, so they're back in the mix here. It's Jazzy Belle.
You know what? Is this the first song where Dre is the first verse?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Yep.
You
Yep.
know, I can't help. I'm just speculating here, right? But I can't help but like also so just as a guy who has produced hundreds of songs, maybe thousands at this point, right? I can't help but speculate like, you know, whoever the first verse was is who was leading the energy on the creation of that song, right? Like,
Right.
right? Because wow, Dre has the first verse on the first deeply introspective song. Like, and then wow, you know, the let's set it off, braggadocious energy, party joints. Big Boy has the first verse. You know what I'm saying? Um, this is like this is absolutely a beautiful Outkast song. It
Mm-hmm.
definitely feels like a Dre heavy theme,
Mm-hmm.
like even down to the musicality of it, the way the instrumentation is, the way the vocals are, the female vocals in the top of the song, you know what I'm saying? It just all feels like emotional, vulnerable, and introspective. You feel like you're watching. I don't know. I'll go on record and say this too, man. Big shout out to Southern Playalistic and like how that set it off, right? But I really feel like, hey man, y'all out there don't come for me on this. You know what I'm saying? But
Man,
I
come for
really, I, I really feel like the Dre that we know today, like, yes, he existed on Southern Playalistic, but I think once they got past that first hurdle of first album success, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, I feel like he began to feel the freedom of being himself the most. And then I feel like we started to see a divergence, right? And I think that divergence truly became exponential at ATLiens,
Was
right?
this the first? Was this the first time he started dressing different?
Yeah, for sure. I
Yeah,
mean, this was the sort of lore about this album is that after the success of the first album, it went platinum. They were, had officially arrived. They took a trip to Jamaica, and it was there that they kind of had like a spiritual awakening. And when they got back, Dre was like, "I'm not going to smoke. I'm going to become a vegetarian. I'm going to start dressing differently." And I think it's very similar. We kind of see this in life from people who don't make world changing albums. I feel like we all knew, and maybe some of us were the kids who in high school you had a personality which kind of like dressed a certain way. Maybe you had more of like a clean cut, like haircut. Then like college or this young adult time is when you start to grow your hair out, or maybe you start to like you grow the beard, or maybe you start dressing a little different. You're kind of trying to find your identity. It's just amazing when this happens. This like very kind of universal experience happens to incredibly creative people who also have a platform that makes the discoveries that they have paradigm shifting. So we
yeah,
we were able to witness this thing that happens to all of us or a lot of us, but done in a way that scaled in such a crazy way. So yeah, it's this to me is that manifestation, like you said, where Dre was really digging in and defining his new identity and his new voice. So this is also a key for me. Shout out to Deborah Killings, who's doing the background vocals. Those harmonies are like haunting.
shout
Uh,
out Denver.
I
Yeah.
there was a music video. I kind of vaguely remember. Was the music video version of the song slightly different than the album version? Does that ring a bell to you guys at all?
Uh-uh. I don't remember the
All right,
music video for this.
I might have made that up, or somebody's gonna hop in and be like, "It was," or "It wasn't." But uh,
I
yeah,
think one thing that's dope about, I mean, obviously it's kind of their calling card, but like I think maybe we don't give enough credit. They're very different. We've talked about that. Everybody knows that Big Boy and Dre are so different. But I just love how this is clearly a Andre driven song, right? Like this kind of digs in his bag. But it's dope that like there could be an Andre driven song and then you ready? I bet. Like, all right, we doing that. And then when we want to do bombs over Baghdad, okay, we doing that. You know, like whoever is the driving force, the other one's like, all right, let's do that. You know what I'm saying? And then I'll go there with you and you come here with me. And every time that we do it, we still gonna remain true to myself. Like I'm still gonna rap that's remaining true to me. But I could come over there and hang out with you, and you could come over here and hang out with me, and we can create music, even though we're so different and we're into such different things. I might be a vegetarian, you might only eat meat, but yeah, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? Like let's create a song. I think that's such a ill, because that's what best friends are. A lot of times they just very different. You know what I mean? We don't gotta like the same things. We don't gotta, you know what I mean? But there's a connective thread, whatever that thread is. We can't even speak on it. That we get it, and we gonna live right there. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's, you can hear it because the first couple songs don't sound like this song. Like this is where it goes in a different direction, and you're like, oh, okay, like, you know, you can see. I'm working on an album with Tri-State from Gold Chain, and what's interesting is I'm very conscious of who starts which song. Like, this is something that we've been dealing with because we'll get a beat and like I'll have an idea, and I'm sure you know, we're not creating the album in the studio together, but he'll have an idea, maybe I'll have an idea. But really, it's a race to see who sends the idea first. You know what I'm saying? So like, if I lay my verse first, generally my direction of the song is kind of where we're going, right? But if there's been joints where I was kind of slow to maybe write the verse or slow to come up with the whatever, and maybe I write a verse, but State sends it to me before I got a chance to lay it. And then I'm going, okay, I see what you did. That ain't nothing like what I was about to do, but all right, we going over here now. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's just cool to kind of see that in this format. Also, shout out to the cuts on here again too.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, it's tough to say. It's all conjecture because we weren't in the studio. But the one thing I will say is that if you listen to the like solo albums that Big Boy has done since the last Outkast album, there's definitely a lot of experimentation, and like it is like some really out there shit. Now I don't know if like that started with Andre and that eventually influenced Big Boy to start doing that. I think the general perception is that Andre was the weird one, Big Boy was the straight one, you know, but I don't know. And like going back a couple songs, when I hear the hook to ATLiens, like again, I don't have proof of this, but like I feel like that's a Big Boy hook,
I would
right? You
assume.
know,
One would
yeah,
assume.
it
Yeah.
feels like a Big Boy hook, and like, but it's a good hook, but it's weird, you know, the ayer, like that's like okay,
the thing that
haven't heard that.
this is the thing that I know because I have a brother, right? Is that like a lot of times in the beginning, like like who you are, you're built to complement, right?
Hmm.
Like you fill the void of saying, this is what I do, this is what you do, right? And it usually takes some separation before you realize you actually take up more space in that, right? But in the beginning, it's yin and yang, and you're happy to be yin. You know what I'm saying? And you just yin. But you might have some yang, but it just takes some separation before you begin to take up a little bit more space in that. And I think that when you're dealing with again, Outkast, they were teenagers. You know what I'm saying? They were literally kids, you know, and they were trying to get on in the rap game. You know what I'm saying? You know, and all of their examples. I'll never forget being in the studio back in the day, you know, like as a teenager. And like all the OGs in the studio were like, all right, if one of you guys rap this way, then you gotta rap another way. You know what I'm saying? All of their examples, Q-Tip and Fife, right? Like all of their examples were yin and yang, right? And so, as you said, like Big Boy might have had that experimental bug in him, but he was like, well, nah, but I do this in
Yeah.
Outkast. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And then as soon as he wasn't, he was like, actually, you know, I'm a lot of things.
That's a good perspective on that. Yeah, that's all facts.
Yeah. All right, so we're keeping that, guys. We've gone through 5 songs. We've kept 5, so this is where it gets stressful. There's
That's
only
right.
5 more can keep, but
That's
we're
it.
gonna move on to track number 6, produced by Outkast. Elevators, me and you. Maybe we'll cut this.
I would disown y'all as brothers, not even as friends, brothers. You know, if this was cut, you know.
No, it's
There
a
are several
keep.
things about this. Now that I'm on a platform where I can discuss how much I appreciate this song, it's the little things, man. And big shout out to everybody who just listened to this and it's just a song, it's just rap, blah, blah, blah. But nah, I get a chance to nerd out with the homies, fam. Yo, the pre-delay on that reverb is crazy. On the snare, it come on the rim. Come on, fam. It's so epic. That's like hearing you know, I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Like the way they treated his voice,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
right, on that song and that era is
Yeah.
how I felt hearing that.
I think you
know what I'm
got some
saying?
phenomenal comparison.
Just being like, what is that? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That was epic. And then the loop of the like
Yo,
the fact that was not just like a random thing, though, that was actually in the loop. Crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like crazy, fam. Like I'm trying to tell y'all, to be doing that in 90 whatever is crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. If this album comes out it's what I always say about these albums. If the album comes out in 96, they was working on it in 95, which like people look at these years and it's like, yeah, but the year it came out ain't the year you did it. Not in the 90s, bro. You might have I don't know the recording schedule, but in some of these situations, you might have been working on songs for 2 years before
they were this in 1994. You know what I mean?
It's fucking mind-boggling, bro.
Absolutely.
And I do wonder if the fact that they were so young and also like maybe like didn't know all the rules, which is kind of what hip hop is in the production sense anyway. But that's there are such strange choices to make, like strange in just the textbook definition of what you would expect. But it's so good. It's so good. And
I think
song is
Elevate
mesmerizing to me.
It is, bro. It is. This is what I'm saying. Like, I don't remember where I was on every time I've heard one of my favorite songs. I will never forget the Pajama Jam I was at when I heard this. I felt like the room was spinning. What's happening? Where are we at? What is this sound? I don't understand what's happening. It is one of the most unique rap songs I've ever heard in my life. Still to this day, as an MC, I can't, for all you guys who didn't know, IMAKEMADBEATS produced and for me for the great majority of my life as an MC. I can't imagine. And I always say, and I'll say it publicly here, I think IMAKEMADBEATS is the greatest producer of all time. He's the best producer I ever heard. Greatest beat maker I've ever heard. And those are two different things. And I think he's both, right? But with that being said, I can't even imagine being in the old Dirty Socks and that's the beat you put on. Like, I don't know what I would do.
Dirty Socks was the studio that they worked at.
In his old studio. I don't know how I would react to that beat. What is that? What am I doing? Like, and I hear the way Andre starts that verse, and I'm going, yeah, I would never come up with anything good for this. Like, this is too like, well, I would be sitting in fucking awe, just staring like, what do you, because it's too strange. Like, it's just so different. You know what I'm saying? Like, the differentness of that just blows my fucking mind.
It's so strange and different. And the single, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and the single, right? And only Outkast can, this weird sample that sounds like reverse guitars and just, and it, you know what I'm saying? And then, right?
And then the bass line, the bass line is the anchor that, like, if you didn't know where the one is, like, the bass is going to help you. Just hold on to this. We're going to go through a very weird tunnel right now. Just hold on to the bass line. I promise you.
Fam. But only Outkast can hear that and then come up with a Negro spiritual of a hook that just sticks in your head forever. You know what I'm saying? You like, it's like, yo. And also, I gotta shout this out, fam. I gotta shout this out because this was an epic song for a variety of reasons for Outkast, right? First and foremost, man, like, you know, every rapper that's not from New York, right? Every rapper that's not from New York wants to talk about where they from and then make it like a thing that like people know where I'm from. They know certain streets because I named them. They know certain neighborhoods because I introduced it to them. You know what I'm saying?
I believe
Like,
it's called putting on for your city is what the colloquialism is.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
But like to say, you know, the Dandelo, like to, you know, saying to like shout out specific places, specific streets, the way, you know, the way back in the day when we listened to New York rap, right? Like we knew Bed-Stuy, we knew 125th, and we knew Lennox, you know what I'm saying, off of Big L. We knew all of that stuff. And then going to the West Coast, we knew Watts, right? We knew all of these stuff, right? And then honestly, even Diamond District, right? The whole premise of Diamond District was like, yo, we want to do that for where we're from, right? Every rapper wants to do that. Outkast achieved that in that song, right? Because the whole world, the way, like you just said, MidaZ, the way he started it off, this epic song that everyone would remember for the rest of their life, he started it off mentioning very specific things about where they were from and their specific, journey. And then, you know, before he knew it, we had millions of people across the world, you know, singing about neighborhood, you know, like, you know, places. And it was amazing.
Was it the first single off of this album? Was it the lead single?
Yeah.
I don't, you know,
was.
I was in Hawaii, so I don't know. It was?
It absolutely was.
Here on the mainland, we can tell you all about it. It was, yeah, it was great. It has longevity. It's crazy. I think about this from when it came out. I also think about, I want to say it was like the season finale of Atlanta season 1. They played this in the end credits, and it was like a hair standing up on your arms moment because it was like so perfect. Also got to shout out Dre's second verse, which tells like a really great perspective of what fame is and the misperception of fame, and does it in a very honest way, especially when you're thinking about what hip hop is, especially in the 90s, where it's like, I'm the best, I have the money, I'm a superstar. And he's talking about being stopped in the mall and basically saying like, yeah, I have more fans than you, but we're basically still in the same position. If it don't move your feet, then, you know, we like Knicks. And I just fucking,
yo, that whole line is insane, by the way.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it was like artists, I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be super real. Like, artists were not that honest at that time. Like, that was a level of vulnerability that, like, if you were to say that right now, it's like, okay, cool, a rapper. But like, nah, in 95, 96, 90, nah. Rappers were supposed to be like godly. They were just looked at as like the same level as like NBA players in terms of money and success and all of that stuff. Right? So for him to open up the single and say like, bruh, it's not really much difference between me and you, bruh. Like, you know what I'm saying?
But at the same time,
I was hearing that and being like, really?
But at the same time,
and he's framing it by acknowledging the misperception, because he quotes the perception. He's like, oh, I know you got paid, you know, I know you got buku of hosts from all the songs that y'all done made. And he's like, no, that's actually not, like, it would have felt forced in a way if he just like came out, hey, this is our song Elevators, it's about how average we are, you know, like he really had to frame it and talk about what the actual misperception was, which is crazy.
Nah, it's but at the same time, I'm just like you. But at the same time, the whole album is, I'm not like you, bro. I'm from fucking outer space, nigga.
Yeah.
Like, it's so crazy because it's like, I'm from Decatur. I'm from here. But nah, I'm not, bro. I'm from Mars. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's happening at the same time. You know what I mean? It's a wild, like, yeah, bro, I'm down the block, but also I'm not down the block. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can find me, but you can't find me, which is a wild scenario on this album.
Now that was like, you know, I always say, you know, when I'm working with artists here at Unapologetic, I'm like, yo, your best, like, sometimes your best song is your introductory song, but it's not necessarily the same thing, right? Like, there's a good song, like sometimes like Eminem. Hi, my name is the greatest top something introductory songs ever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you were to
Yeah.
ask people what's Eminem's best song, nobody's gonna say "Hi, my name is." You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What's the best song
right.
on that album? Nobody's gonna say "Hi, my name is." You know what I'm
Facts.
saying?
Facts.
And you know, on this album, I'm not gonna say "Elevators" is the best song on this album. You know what I'm saying? But like that is absolutely the best first single. Like just to say like, hey, we're back, but we're a little bit different. Fucking play Elevators. That's the
Yeah.
best way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
It should be
it's
against
just
the,
bro, it's just execution. Like it's just amazing execution. Man.
it should be against the law. And Outkast does this like 4 albums in a row. It should be against the law to have Elevators and Throw Your Hands in the Air on the same album. Like how you supposed to have, you have both of those? These ain't even, you supposed to have one of those on the album. Like
Yeah.
they got both of those on one album. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Smashes.
Yeah.
Smashes.
But just
it's
think about that
stupid.
right quick.
That's
Right
like
quick,
having Thriller and Beat It on the same album. It's like, yo, these ain't supposed to be on the same
that's
album,
unfair,
bro.
though. That's like the 2 best kickball players on the same team. That's not
Yeah,
fair.
like
You know what I'm saying?
what are we doing?
But hold on, really quick, just as a perspective, think about the first single from Southern Playalistic. Southern Playalistic, Cadillac, and they just pimps and they got you know 6 foes or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And they just out in ATL or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Think about that versus they first single off their second album.
You know what might happen? You know what might happen when you think about that?
Mm,
You may die.
damn.
Sean?
Yeah, that was good. That was
Okay,
really
good.
good
I'm
job.
working on my Sean-isms. I'm working
No,
on
no.
it.
I feel
that
I
was-
respect it.
Respect. So we're gonna move on. We're keeping that. We're moving on to track number 7, also produced by Outkast. It's Ova Da Wudz. This bass line lives rent free in my head to this day. Like
Forever.
I'll be walking around. I can't tell you how many times in 2026 I've just had this shout out to this bass line and this snare. The best combination since Arm and Hammer, since since any
Rum and Coke.
since rum and coke, since peanut butter and jelly, like
Yeah.
just the combination of those things is just it's crazy.
As a culture, we talk a lot about Andre as one of the great MCs of all time, and we should, because he's one of the great MCs of all time. Man, some of the stuff Big Boy does from a technical standpoint, I as a guy who writes raps and like just I don't even understand how this guy writes a rap. I don't think I get it. I don't really know what's happening. Like just the science of like how like you hear a beat and I mean these beats are on time, like they're not off, but like he's rhyming on time and then he speeds up words and then he slows down. Like where are you finding that as you're writing? Like I don't even understand that. Like, I don't even know how you hear that. And you're just like, all right, I'm gonna rap normal and then I'm gonna fit 19 words into this small pocket, but then I'm gonna come out of it. He's doing it all the time, and it's such a wild style, like as a way to rap.
When I hear him rap, like I just feel like I hear freedom. Like it doesn't feel like he was ever confined to structure. Like,
Yeah.
he's just free. You know what I'm saying? And then he's just so cool that he could break the rules and still sound cool as hell. You know
He's
what I'm
breaking all the rules.
saying? Yeah. That's it.
And I will say that as much as I think that they're like very even throughout a lot of this album, this is Big Boy smoked Dre on this song. Like, the Dre verse is cool. I like it, but this, I'm stressed by how much I like this song. Like,
I think this is Big Boy's greatest album of rapping.
Yes, I would agree too. I would agree.
Yeah. This also feels, again, Big Boy led. So it
Sure.
I can
Well,
see.
and you get the other guys, you start to get some of the Dungeon Family guys. Witch Doctor's on this, right? You get
yeah.
Yeah, you get you start. This is actually one of the first songs because similar to Young Neem right here. Whenever I go to Atlanta, I feel compelled to play this album getting off the plane. Like it's my welcome to Atlanta moment. And I usually skip to this song to
Which is a
welcome
real
me
slap
out
in
the
the
plane.
face to the song "Welcome to Atlanta," because like Jermaine Dupri like made a song for that. You're like, thanks, we're good.
Yeah, and his fucking face is like right there too when you're getting off the plane and shit most of the time.
Yeah.
But I usually skip to this song, and I feel like this is my walk through the get out the airport. Like I just feel like, all right, I'm in Atlanta now. Like this is that joint.
Yeah. Look, man. Okay, here we go. Here we go, fam.
Oh. Oh,
What are you
man.
about to
Hey, come
say?
for his neck. Come for his neck, niggas.
Nah. I learned in the early 90s to protect my neck. You know what I'm saying?
Respect.
Okay. Fam. Again, this is why this is so hard. It's because, I mean, okay, first let me just say this. This is one of my favorite beats on the album.
Yes.
Like, this is like,
Same.
like, okay, we could talk top 5 songs, but they would be different selections if I just named top 5 beats. You know what I'm saying? Just raw beats, there's no way I can remove this. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't cut this. You know what I'm saying? But in the vein of what MidaZ was talking about earlier, which is like where I feel like I have to go if we're gonna actually get this down to 10 songs, right? I have to go with the overlap of ideas and whether or not some ideas have been previously presented or not. Therefore, can I make a shorter version of this body of work that covers the ideas that this body of work covers? Because the ideas that it covers is fucking perfect. So in other words, like, if we need H and O, like maybe we need one less H, you know what I'm saying? Because can we just still keep H and O, you know what I'm saying, instead of H2O? You feel me?
Yeah.
And with that being said, I feel like the overall theme of this song, right, is not perfectly overlapped and covered in previous songs, but there's a lot of it that is, in a way to where if I have to retain the magic of this album and keep the existing elements, maybe not at the same quantity, this has got to be one of the songs.
In movies when somebody gets like a traumatic piece of news and you hear like the ringing in their ears, like almost like they were in war and like their ears are ringing. This is like when my parents let me know that they were getting a divorce. Like I just like disassociated. I was just like, what are you about? What are you saying? You're saying you want to cut? You're saying you would choose to cut this song? Is what you're saying?
You're getting Mad Beats on the podcast today? Shit, that's dope. Yeah, we gotta call him up.
Hey, bro, Sean, did you call me here to be like, we shouldn't cut anything, bro? Nothing gets cut. You know what I'm saying? Why did you invite me on this shit? You know what I'm saying? No, you invited me here to make the hard decisions, right? To cut from an album that me and you both agree is one of the greatest musical things I've ever created, right? I'm here to make the hard decisions, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I want you to make the hard decisions, but I don't want you to make the wrong decisions. And that's one that you just made here. So that's
well, every decision is wrong. This album should never be sliced up.
Hey yo. All right, well, luckily for us, Sean, I'm not cutting it.
Thank God.
So
thank God.
Hey, okay, so let's keep going because when we come back,
yeah, because we're going, because we're gonna keep too many songs. It's gonna happen.
That's it. And when we keep too many songs, I want to feel better knowing I was down to make the hard decision. You know what I'm saying?
Anyway, we're gonna move on to track number 8. It's produced by Organized Noise. It's Babylon.
I don't have no tattoos. For those who don't know, you know what I'm saying? I don't have no tattoos, right? I'd get that song tatted on me, right? Like that's how much that song means to me, right? In 1,000 ways that could take up the rest of the night talking about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, just the things we went through as kids. And again, the way he started, again, I can't help but see a pattern of the songs that Big Boy starts and the songs that Dre starts. You know what I'm saying? And you know, just again, like his vulnerability, like there were leaders of vulnerability. Vulnerability was not like a thing that was like abundant in rap in the 90s. It was more braggadocious. It was more like, you know, brag about your masculinity, how many hoes you got, how much money you got, how many people you done beat up, how much weed you smoke, all of these things, right? And so you had your pioneers of vulnerability, right? One of them being Old Dirty Bastard, right? I got burnt by gonorrhea. Like, yo, nobody was saying that. Like, you know,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody was admitting to these things. And Dre was absolutely the guy in the South leading the charge, you know, for these things, man. And so, you know, our slogan is where vulnerability becomes art and weird becomes genius, you know. And I hear that in you know, in such intensity when this song comes on.
And so I'll piggyback on that. You know, as a quote unquote lyricist, I'm actually always more drawn to how you say things than what you say. And so while I love everything that he said, I'm bugging out off of how he said it. Like the technicality of this verse, how he rhymes this is stupid. Like this is a ridiculous verse to put together, to sit down and put together. Like it's and then to have all the substance on top of it. It's like, all right, you could have a lot of these guys that got the substance songs ain't doing the technical stuff with it. You know what I'm saying? And he's marrying both of those worlds on this joint. That's crazy. I will say, I don't love the hook. I could do without the hook. The thing about this hook is that it sounds like a regular nigga hook.
What's funny is knowing you, I would have never thought about that, but knowing you, I totally understand what you said. Ooh.
And shout out to Andrea Martin, who, you know, is the singer on the song. Amazing, you know, rest in peace. I believe she passed a couple of years ago. She was a great songwriter for En Vogue and SWV, and you know, just penned a lot of songs. But I definitely understand that. It's the first time in this album that sort of is defined by it being its own world, that we're like, oh, you went back to Earth for this.
Yeah,
you got a singer like, and it's a 90s like R&B sort of hook moment.
With a shout out to Tequita, how differently would any Wu-Tang song that has Tequita sound if instead of Tequita, it was like whatever quote unquote like normal pop singer, or like it just changes the whole feel. Like I feel like Outkast got a sound when they singers sing. You know what I'm saying? And this doesn't necessarily sound like one of they singers. This sound like Babyface was like, so listen, I got this singer. You need a hook for that one joint? I got you. You know what I mean? It kind of sounds like that. So I don't really love the hook on it, but I can't cut it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going that far, but it's that note.
If the first 4 bars of this song were not on the song, do you think the way that we feel about this song would feel slightly less elevated? If it didn't have that, I came into this world high as a bird from secondhand cocaine powder. I know that sounds absurd. Like, to me, I do like this song. It works, but that to me is the best part about this song. Everything else is a little less good than the vulnerability and the sort of like crazy start to the movie that is this song that begins with. And that is why, in the name of making hard decisions, it's kind of like we already have a Jazzy Belle, which is a little bit more vulnerable, personal, and the song's kind of a downer. You know, like I'll be honest as well. And in the context of what I love about this album, it kind of sticks out in that way too. So it's for me, I feel conflicted about cutting it, but if I had to vote to cut, and I know you guys already said you're keeping it, so we're gonna keep it, but this would be the first one that I would be like, yeah, this maybe could go on the chopping block.
Interesting.
So this why I got a rep for the hood. You know, I got a rep for Memphis. You know what I'm saying? I got a rep for a true Southerner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Few things. Number one, man,
Fuck you.
it's not a thing wrong with that fucking hood. It's not nothing wrong with that fucking hood. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the fuck y'all think happened, bro, but nah, I'm gonna tell you why, fam. Because like I said, bro, you know what I'm saying? Me and Big Brother Czar, man, we was growing up in the hood. You know what I'm saying? Shit was real. And like,
Yeah.
and nah, like, I'm hoping, praying to keep my faith in you. You know what I'm saying? We grew up in the church. Y'all heard Johnny Gill. I heard the church. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I heard when I heard that hook. You know what I'm saying? And I heard two guys talking about things, a level of vulnerability that you would hear in the church, right? That they were just rapping and they were saying this, they were saying it, you know, very real. But at the same time, like, these things sounded like prayers to me. You know what I'm saying? And so it landed on me wildly different. You know what I'm saying? Like, I needed that song. Like, that song was a downer, but at the same time, it wasn't I could understand tonally why you would say it's a downer, but for me, like, I was listening to hope. I was listening to, like, you know, that things could get better. And, you know, my dad, you know, keeping it all the way real, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, my dad was coming out of rehab, you know what I'm saying? And his faith was everything. You know what I'm saying? It literally was everything. And so to get this album and to hear him hoping, praying, to keep my faith in you, you know what I'm saying? Like, and how important that was. Nah, you know, nah, it wasn't shit wrong with that hook. You know what I'm saying? And we out here talking about what they talking about. Hey, let's put some respect on that beat, dog. And then that,
Yeah.
like, come on, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like that intro to that, and then the bass coming with the verse coming. I came into, bro, what? Like,
Yeah.
It felt like, again, listen to the beat. It sounds like a sermon, right? Like, nah, like for me, that joint is spiritual. You know what I mean?
But
I got a rep for the hood. I got a rep for the South. Everybody who grew up in church. You know what I'm saying?
we could have get Sleepy Brown to do the hook, the same hook. We just get somebody else.
It wouldn't have hit the same. It wouldn't have hit the same.
Keep your faith in who did the hook, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I mean, we're gonna keep it, and I wouldn't want to cut it, but again, in the context of we have to make 10 songs. This is now our 8th song, and we've kept the first 8 songs on the album.
Hey man, I want to let it be known, yo, Sean, I disagree, but I respect. You know what I'm saying?
Look.
Unlike how you respond, you know what I'm saying, when I tried to make the hard cuts, you know what I'm saying? So I respect.
You're a bigger man than me because of the spirituality that you developed through church, where I was raised by a atheist Jew and an unobservant Christian, so I just have none of this stuff makes
man,
any, you know.
I ain't want to take it this far, my God.
But what I will say, what I will say is I got to give a big shout out to Tequila, just to, you know, just to set the record straight. Like, I just want to make sure I don't want no smoke with Tequila. You know what I'm saying? So,
what I will say though is that this album is front heavy. So
100%. 100%.
So I mean, it's a hell of a front. It's a long front, but it is front heavy in my opinion. So
that's what we call a long front in the industry. So okay, we're gonna move on to track number 9. This one is produced by Organized Noise. It's Wailin.
Again, man, amazing beat, fam. Like, you know what I'm saying? But again, just going back to the roots. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I have to look at what do I think has been covered, and to maintain the brilliance that is this album, I think we got to cut Wailin. You know what I'm saying? Big shout out to Wailin Smithers. You know what I'm saying? Big shout out to Wheelz. But nah, and I love that song.
Shout out to the way the Lynn drum, you know, was such a, you know, great component of production. You know, the Wailin, but it
that was a stretch, but I respect.
I'm gonna cut it as well. The thing is, I'm not one of the tropes, one of the MidaZ song album tropes. I don't love songs that I don't know what to do with space and no hook and no nothing going on. I don't know what to do with that on out. It's one of the things that I can't really connect with real good on songs. So you got a verse, then you got nothing. And then the thing about nothing is, okay, cool. Not every song needs to have a hook. Not every song needs to, but like, could the beat do something else? Do nothing? Just nothing? And then you come, it's for 4 bars, and then you just come back and you start rapping again. What was we doing for the last 4 bars? I don't really understand that logic. I'm not cool with songs like that. So that's one thing with that joint. The other thing with that one is, that sample, that's a song that I know that sample, whatever like that, but I love the sample. Like, I love the sample. I love the sample better than I like the beat they made out of the sample. And so while the beat is dope, I think the beat of the sample is better. And I almost would just rather hear that than hear what they did with it when they flip it. So
yeah. I mean, I'll also say the song is less than 2 minutes long, so it doesn't also feel like it's a super integral part. This is more of a vibe song, and it's a cool vibe, and it's such a vibe song that I understand why they wouldn't put a hook on it, because it can kind of just ride out, it's just in the vibe, but it doesn't. Yeah, this is the first song on the album that feels like an album cut. And it also, if we're talking about the vibes, it feels a little similar to the first album, to me, with some of like the instrumentation. And I do wonder, if we're going to kind of navigate some of that now in this section of the album. And I never really thought about it until we're doing this exercise now. I wonder if the songs that are in that vein are the older songs. And they were just sort of like, well, we've got these, we started to do some other shit. This is perhaps a bit more exciting, but we still like these songs, and maybe we're under a deadline. We'll keep them. We'll put them later in the album. I'm just speculating. I don't know, but
they were also trying to fill up a whole CD. Like, this is what was happening back then. You're just putting everything you got. You know what I'm saying? Like,
although I will say that from this era, there are some amazing non-album cuts, like from Outkast, that were going on soundtracks and going on B-sides and stuff like that. And we could do a whole episode. Fuck, Phobia, which I think is also from around this time. It was on the High School High soundtrack. There's some killers in there that, honestly, this album doesn't need it, but like, if you would put some of those on this album, this would be astronomical. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, my vote is to cut this as well. So shout out to Wailin. All right, we're going to move on to track number 10, also produced by Organized Noise. It's Mainstream.
Okay. In the first round, I'm going to say we absolutely have to keep this song, right? For a few reasons. Number one, man, it's topically and thematically different. It's beautiful, right? Production's beautiful. Big shout out to the Fall in Love break being used, you know what I'm saying? Also, the crew track, right? So you got like, Goody Mob, right? Got the Cujo hook, you know what I'm saying? It's an energy, of community that you just gotta include on an Outkast album, where, you know what I'm saying? It's like Outkast and friends. It just has to happen, and I feel like, they did that beautifully with Mainstream.
I agree with everything you said, and MidaZ is also about to say the other thing that I also agree with.
I don't need it.
I'm not really fond of community.
I get the, first of all, love Goody Mob, Dungeon Family, all those guys. And I love the idea of having, you need something with some different voices, I think, to come in there and add some seasoning to the album.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that this is essential, though. I don't know that it's essential. This song is kind of boring. Is my deal with it. Which is a wild thing to say about a posse cut. Like, how is a posse cut boring? Like, it's because you and all your friends.
because they're not coming for each other's necks or trying to be the best. Like that's not what the motif or the aim for this song is. I had a similar thought. It's like normally when you get everybody together, it's like, you know, steel sharpens steel.
Right,
But that wasn't the intent on this. They didn't even
right.
take the swords out of the sheath
Out of the
here, you
sheet.
know?
It just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it's just kind of, and then you know, it's a dope beat, but it's kind of, you know, respectfully, it's kind of boring. It's just a song, you know. To me, it's just kind of a song. So this one for me was a cut. Kind of just sounds like a Goody Mob song, you know, featuring Outkast versus the other way around.
My vote is to cut it as well. It's just not one of my, if we're staying true to what we're trying to do here, it is not one of my 10 favorite songs on this album. Not saying it's not good, but it's just not one of my 10 favorite.
You know what, man? Shout out to y'all, man, because I could totally. This is why I said it the way I said it. I said, you know, the first go through, the first round of this. This is where I stand on this. I could totally see us having to choose a song to cut, and we got to come back around to cut this. But now I don't have to emotionally go through that. You feel me? Y'all held that down. You know, and I got to speak my piece, and I meant what I said. You know what I'm saying? But hey, it's cut. Let's keep it moving. You know what I mean?
All right, we're gonna keep moving to track number 11, also produced by Organized Noise. It is Decatur Psalm.
So this to me is what the last song should have been. Is this song? And I definitely don't think you need both of them, right? You could do one or the other. But if I were picking between mainstream and Decatur Psalm, I'm taking Decatur Psalm. It just sounds cooler. You know what I mean? My dog Cool Breeze get on there and get busy. You know what I'm saying? It just got a cool factor to it. And you know, that would be the difference. They both sound like Goody Mob songs to me, but this one is just a little bit cooler. So I vote to keep this one.
To your point, the two songs here paired together do kind of feel interchangeable to me in some ways. They're very much cut from the same cloth. And yeah, I again, this is another cut for me. Like it's cool, I like it, but it feels too derivative of the first album to me. It feels too and honestly, I really just think it's hard following that crazy stretch of the first 8 or 9 songs on this record. So I don't know how else I would have done it, because you don't want to put these older sounding songs in the middle of that run, because then it's kind of like, I don't know, maybe it would have worked, but uh, I just don't think that it was. I don't think that would have worked either. So yeah, I don't know. But my vote is to cut it. Like there again, we got to keep 10. I don't. I never skip to go straight to this song.
Yeah.
Yeah, my vote is to cut it as well. This is probably, if this isn't the least listened to song off this album for me, it's the next to the least listened to song off this album for me. And it's, you know, it's great. When I'm listening to the album, I listen to it. You know what I'm saying? And you're right, it is cool. It's got a cool southern vibe. It's a little bit slower. You know what I'm saying? And I just love the energy and the attitudes on it. But it's just like, it's just surrounded by so much specialness.
Yeah,
You know, I
special.
mean, like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, like, when I think about that song, I think about like into the next song, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know
Yes.
what I'm saying? Like,
It's a product. It's a product of the CD era. It's a product of the
yeah.
CD era. Yeah.
Which, yeah, so I'm with it, cut for sure.
Okay. All right.
All right. Then we're moving on to track number 12, produced by Organized Noise. It is Millenium.
I mean, I'm gonna keep, you know, again, there's a clear pattern of like Dre's the first verse. Like, there's gonna be more melancholy melodies and introspection, and you know what I'm saying. But I really feel like the part about this song that for real like puts it over the top for me is not even no lyrics. It's
Yeah.
that right there is the coolest thing ever, dog. And then the way it ends, Earth to Mars, like that, like that whole
It's
this is
who
who
you
you
are.
are. Like that right there is just like, Wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah. Like, and so again, with the theme of like, this is ATLiens. You know what I'm saying? Keep the essence of what makes this a 5 mic joint. I mean, come on, bro. We gotta keep,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? I gotta keep.
It felt like when we got to you know, once you got to Babylon, which is interesting that it's called Babylon, it feels like a different album for 3 songs.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
the album comes back on. You know what I'm saying? With this joint. Like Millenium is like, oh yeah, we back. You know what I mean? Like we took a little hiatus, but
It's like you change the channel and then you're like, ah, let me go back. And it's like, oh, it's still on.
it's still on. I didn't know. I thought it went off. You know what I'm saying? And so it's funny because it immediately sounds like the stuff that you heard 3 songs ago. You know, like it just feels like it again. So for me, this was a keep.
This is a keep for me too. I love it for all the reasons that, you know, you guys have said. It's a keep that I feel it may not make the ultimate cut, but I got to keep it for sure. Like this is one where I'll worry. This is a problem for Sean and a few songs from now to deal with.
Yeah.
I'm not going to worry about it now. I love it.
I like how y'all have developed this way, this regimen of doing this. It helps you deal with your own nervous system. I love it.
I definitely made a couple beats that were very much inspired, meaning I definitely ripped off like this when I was in middle school, like on a 4-track, and like it was all of the elements as well. So yeah, it's great. All right, we're gonna move on to track number 13, produced by Outkast. It's ET Extraterrestrial. I'm surprised that there's never been a version that leaked that had the drums, unless I'm wrong and it has, but you feel like they must have recorded this 2 drums, right? And then they took the drums out?
I don't feel that way.
No?
Hey man, there is no song on this album I've listened to more than this song. Right? And you know, it is again, man, like I'm coming out the South, bro. Coming out the South, coming out the hood, right? You know, I've been to ATL. I know ATL is the real South. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, just with respect. With respect to, you know, my tenure in Florida and my respect for my Ozonians, man, and all the beautiful people in Florida, man. I'm gonna be real with y'all. It's parts of Florida that don't be feeling like it's the real South, man. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
Yeah, and so when people in Florida, like if Outkast was from Florida, this does not hit the same. You know what I'm saying? Like this does not hit the same because it would be like, oh, of course, this is a mix of these elements that's in Florida. Atlanta is the real ass South, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Like that, it is real South than a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And so for a song called Extraterrestrial with no fucking drums, right? The percussion is essentially a nigga breathing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like for real, you know, and then it's just these crazy sounds, you know, and then you hear how Big Boy, you know, gives it the rhythm and all of that stuff, man. Like, again, as a kid growing up in the South who needed like some sort of affirmation, some sort of like, it's okay to be this weird, to be this. For those who don't know, the name of my studio is Outer Space. You know what I'm saying? The name of this particular room is Andromeda, right? I released my album in a planetarium. You feel me? Like I've been on this for a long time, you know, and like, but the way these guys confirmed that, and then they didn't just make a song called Extraterrestrial. This shit legit sounds like the inside of a spaceship. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, bro, man, MidaZ, me and you did a song years and years ago, right? It was when I made the beat for it, I 10,000% inspired by Extraterrestrial. Do you remember that joint?
You talk about the you talk about that one?
Spreading Wings.
Spreading Wings. Yeah. I knew exactly what you were talking about.
Spreading Wings was me like, yo, I gotta do my Extraterrestrial. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, This is not Outkast ATLiens without this song.
I'm gonna co-sign. I mean, I love drums, B. I love drums, but I also love atmosphere and mood and vibe.
You're talking about the groups,
and,
right? From Minneapolis and Cincinnati, atmosphere and mood, right? Of course.
but you know, sometimes what the drums do is make it a song versus make it an experience, right? And I think not every piece of music needs to be a song. Sometimes it needs to be an experience. And this is an experience. You know what I'm saying? What's real bugged out about this though is there's no drums. And generally speaking, like for me, when I'm rhyming on something that doesn't have drums, I mean, when people say, yo, that don't got no drums, like there's generally drums. It's just
Right.
not like
It's a soft break. It's something in the sample.
There's usually something there that's like, nah, there's drums there. Like it's not, you know, it's not just Blaze, but like there's drums there. You know what I'm saying? This has no drums. You know what I'm saying? This joint right here, and I don't even know. I mean, shout out to those two guys at being such phenomenal MCs as they are. Where they determine that they gonna rap at, like what they gonna sit on, what pockets they gonna live in. I wouldn't have been able to come up with these things. What did you determine that you were rapping to? You know what I'm saying? Like this is one of the wildest things to rap to. So one thing I will give you, Sean, it's very possible that there were drums on here. Because without the drums on here, I don't even know what you rap to. I don't even know how you catch it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like what do you do? How do you figure out what?
Did you rap to Spreading Wings? There was no drums on that.
Yeah, but Spreading Wings at least had the loop did the work. You know what I'm saying? Like the loop did the work.
It's a loop in Extraterrestrial.
There's a loop, but I don't hear the thing. I don't hear what to sit on. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like it's easy to go off script. Shout out my man Superstition. Super was working on some music. You know, Super love his drums. Super hit me up and he was just like, yo, I'm about to do some joints with no drums. How the fuck do you rap on these shits? You know what I'm saying? Like, because you gotta, I don't know, you gotta hear it. But this to me was a really, as a guy who always raps on no drum, this is I didn't hear it. I was just like, I don't know, G. Like, I don't know what they did, but they got such patterns. They got such, like, they could do anything, you know, like, I guess, vocally. So this is not an easy song to make. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a pretty difficult record to create.
And I can almost imagine if like they ever make the Outkast biopic, and music biopics, try as they might, always have to, you know, paint very broad strokes in the storytelling. Maybe like in the movie, one of the members of Outkast is super into it and one of them isn't sure. And maybe it's like Andre turns to Big Boy and he's like, you don't understand, Antoine. If we do this, if we put out this album and we make this song with no drums, we can do anything after this. and the narrator comes in, and they did. You know, and so it's kind of like this is them putting their stamp, you know, planting the flag in the soil. We are not going to follow any rules. We're going to break the rules, it's not going to be corny. It's not going to be contrived. We're still going to, you know, put our seasoning on it, but we don't adhere to your rules. So, yeah.
I can't think of a group that broke the rules and even their own rules and maintained the success the way Outkast did. Like you know how cool you got to be to pull that off? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like those guys, and this was, you absolutely, what you just said, like, yo, if we do this and we do this right, we can do anything. I totally could see that moment. And that absolutely was happening. After you pulled that off, hey dog, it's time to do all kind of crazy shit. You know?
Right. And they would get weirder and weirder, but they never had a too weird art record, because every time they continued to put out albums that got weirder but got bigger than the last one, which never really happens. Yeah.
Is Outkast the most like first single shocking group of all time? Like, new Outkast album is coming, and the DJ's like, yo, we about to play that new Outkast. And you're like, oh shit, and then it plays, and you're like, what the fuck is this? Like,
yeah.
Every album that happens.
I'm gonna be honest, fam. When Bombs Over Baghdad dropped,
that's the song I was talking about. By the way,
I'm never gonna forget when that dropped. I thought like, nah, niggas not gonna fuck with this shit.
Yo, I thought the same thing. I was like, everyone's gonna hate this song, bro.
Like, and then like a week later, oh no, man, I was like, yo, what?
yo, you know what's funny that you say that? There's certain songs, and I'm super guilty of this happening. There's certain songs that when I hear it the first time, I make that quick, like, either, oh, this is a hit, or I'll go, oh, nobody's gonna like this shit. And I'm gonna tell you, almost every time I've said nobody's gonna like this shit, everybody likes this shit. And I'm just like, I don't fuck. What do I fucking know? You know what I'm saying? So
don't become an A&R. The rule here.
I'm cooked.
Yeah, no, it's a keep. I love this song. Like you said, the album would not be what it is without this. So we're gonna move on to the penultimate track on the album, track 14. This is produced by Organized Noise. It is 13th Floor, Growing Old.
It's keep, bro. Like, come on, bro. Like, I mean, I feel like explaining that is like, just like, come on, bro.
They continue to defy. Yeah, they continue to defy the rules of convention by making a 7-minute long song that doesn't feel long enough. You're like, it's just beautiful. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. It's timely. It's necessary. And again, man, I gotta, just to keep repping for kids who grew up in the South, like to be steeped in that much meaning, you know what I'm saying? Like that much, like, poetic, like, beauty, right? Because we're talking about the same era of, like, and I want to be clear, like, I say this incredibly respectfully, right? But we're talking about the era of, like, Master P and No Limit, you know what I'm saying? Like, in terms of, like, what's dominating, what's coming out the South, and what's, like, speaking for the South and dominating, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, that was just like bully ball on, like, just, let's do, like, getting beats by the pound, literally beats by the pound, you know what I'm saying? And just doing songs, and just, like, it's just Tales from the Hood over and over and over again, you know what I'm saying? And they had a movement, no doubt, but to, like, and honestly, to be from Memphis, where it was just like, and I say this, like, man, Juicy J and Paul were wizards, you know what I'm saying, of, like, horrorcore trap music, you know what I'm saying? Absolutely. But I wasn't used to hearing that kind of musicality, and like, and like, steeped, those are gospel chords, right? Steeped in rap that way, right? And, like, to hear that, like, memories of yesterday, and then those perfectly compressed drums, you know what I'm saying? Just come in snapping, it was just like, bro, again, I don't think it's no way this album exists without this song. Like, it's just too beautiful.
Who mixed this album? We know?
Great question, bro. That's a great question.
I know, Dr. Dre.
The person who mixed this song was Dexter Simmons and Organized Noise. So yeah, I don't know who Dexter Simmons is.
Dexter Simmons, man, gotta look him up.
Yeah, a few people mixed this record.
I love
Leslie Brathwaite was a mix engineer on this record as well. The great Leslie Brathwaite.
No idea. Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. Not the mixer, but the engineer.
I just love how progressive this is, and also just how Southern it is. I mean, even the guy who's doing the spoken word, he's just so Southern. You know what I'm saying? It's such a Southern spoken word. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, most of my family's from the Carolinas, and you want to get backroad Southern. You could go to Walterboro, South Carolina. We'll see you over there. But everybody talk like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how Southern progressive it is. You know what I'm saying? It's real dope. Even back then in '96.
Yeah. It's poignant, it's emotional, it's musically just it feels good, it's sad, but it's hopeful. It's like all of when you were talking about when you were saying about Babylon, the church, the soul, like that I hear more of that in this. I'm not saying that they don't exist in both, but like I definitely can hear that. And honestly, spoiler alert, this should be the last song on the album. It's not, but you know, this is how you close. This is how you go out. And honestly, it is the last song on the album. We just, you know, for commerce and capitalism, we're like, now here's a remix. You know,
Yeah.
one more thing. So yeah, I love this song. It's great. Shout out to again Deborah Killings, Big Rube. This is immaculate. It's a masterclass in music. So we'll go into the last song. It's the Elevators, Me and You, Organized Noise Productions 86 mix, produced by Organized Noise.
It just sounds very like the label. You know what I'm saying? It's very much like, okay, we need a remix to the single. It's got to be an alternative version to go on the B side of whatever.
To their credit, if you are a label exec and you come into hey, Outkast, you know, they had this great first album, they're ready, the new album is done, here's the first single.
Yeah.
You're like,
I feel it.
this is
You're like,
a
oh, no.
problem. all of these weird elements. It's like, listen, guys, we're gonna get a clean, you know, like little bouncy, happy drum beat we're gonna put on there, and we're gonna save this song. This will be the song. This will be the mix that is timeless. And spoiler alert, no one is listening to this version. Like, I mean, I don't hear it out in the wild. I don't hear it. You know, I never go to it, but I understand it. But this is the easiest cut on the album for
Absolutely.
me. Yeah.
With that being said, because it is a cut, it's clearly a cut. But with that being said, if this was the only version of the song and you never heard the first version, the shit would still be fire. You'd be like, oh, this just fire. You know what I'm saying? Like
it wouldn't have
done the same thing, clearly. But
nah. But the reason why I say this sounds like a label jet is because I feel like, you know, with the exception of like give it to Puff Daddy to add Mary J. Blige on it, you know what I'm saying? Like with the exception of that, it's just got all the trimmings of the like, okay, just in case the OG version doesn't hit, we got a remix. And so it's just like, you know, it's like all the elements are just enough familiar to like fit in a radio playlist. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And so it just feels like this is like a safety hatch of a song. You know what I'm saying?
Did they tweak anything else other than adding the drums? Did they change like the bass line on it?
The bass line is different. Yeah, the bass line
is different.
Yeah. It's like it's
and
just
got all them cuts on it and everything.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's just.
I have to ask you this. I have to ask you this because I literally never listened to this, so
right.
I don't remember. I'm like, oh, did they do something different? Like,
you know what it sounds like? It sounds like they're like, yo, we need something that the DJs in New York, right, could add to their mixes, right. That's what it sounds like, you know.
Which was important, you know. Like I understand that, and
absolutely,
yeah.
New York, you had to accept it. Yeah,
it's nowhere near the specialness of the original, the OG version of this at all. But I feel like if I never heard the original version, I would think this shit is fire. I'd be like, yo, this is super fire. Like
I can see that.
It would I would still like it a lot because it's still a dope song. It's a dope song no matter how you slice it. It's just that the OG version is a godly song. It's one of the great songs of all time.
I'm gonna be real, fam. I'm gonna be real, bro. I don't think I would have had the same response at all. I don't think. I'm gonna tell you because, bro, I learned this watching Illmatic, bro. Like Illmatic, I remember me and Illmatic, we used to play beats in the Lower East Side of Manhattan, and he would play a beat, and I remember I used to think about like, bruh, this is a dope beat, no doubt, but like, Illmatic was a master at like the first 8 bars of a beat. Like the things that would happen, that would lead into the beat dropping. It's just like afterwards, the beat could be regular as hell, but that setup just made you appreciate the regularness different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
When I think about, and then that, like, oh, like the way that was starting a movie. You know what I'm saying? That's how it felt like. It felt like a movie was starting. And so, but honestly, when you talk about elevators, people say me and you, and people say do 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 do, right? Yeah, shout out to those elements. That's not the first thing I think about when I hear that. I think about those first 8 bars. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and that doesn't happen in that. So to me, it doesn't get the magical wizardry jut. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not magical off top. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right,
Well, it's not
right.
magical at all. It's not. It's
no,
not
I mean, yes, I think you know, maybe it's a synonym here, but like for me, instead of magical, I would sub in the word haunting is one of like the top 3 words about the elevators to me.
Yeah.
And there's nothing haunting at all about the remix. But it's still to MidaZ's point, what I think you're trying to say, it's still a dope song. Like it's a great hook. It's, you know, great verses. The content is there. It just would have been a very different. Again, this is like the guy didn't go to college, didn't grow his hair out, didn't start smoking weed. He's just like, hey, you know,
it's a dope song, but
man.
it just sucks that it. So when you think of I Got You Open, Black Moon, and then you got the I Got You Open remix, like you just gotta make the remix so different from the original so that it has its own life. Or else it's constantly gonna be compared to the OG. And like I think in this one, it's too close to the original while not having any of the magic of the original.
You know what could have maybe saved it if they did, which was a thing that happened a lot around this time, if they recut the vocals. If they could have kept the same, even if they kept the same lyrics, but just did another take on the vocals. And it was like, okay, they're in this pocket, but yeah, this is inessential. It's not, nobody asked for this except for, I guess, the people at the label. So we are at the end of the album here, but we are here to trim it down to 10 songs. There's a problem. We have 11 songs.
Wow. That's better than I thought we were going to do.
Doing worse than that. Let's get it.
Well, you guys are laughing and congratulatory, but really this is the worst thing that could happen, because now we all have to decide what is the one child that we're going to throw off the ship here. And that is tricky. So this is what we have. We have You May Die, 2 Dope Boys in a Cadillac, ATLiens, Wheelz of Steel, Jazzy Belle, Elevators, Ova Da Wudz, Babylon, Millenium, E.T. Extraterrestrial, and 13th Floor Growing Old. So I'm just going to say it, guys. I said it before. Do we cut Babylon? Because, you know, we got the spirituality in the last song, you know what I'm saying?
Hold on.
Can't do it. You know what I'm saying? I can't do it. I would do this under duress. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got to imprison, lock me up. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't. I got to do this under duress. Slavery. I'm not.
Well, I'm saying if you're about to say cut Over the Woods, you're going to be thinking about that for the rest of your life. Because I'm gonna fly to Memphis and just do something terrible.
Bro, we can just cut You May Die and get out of here. Bro.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We do not cut You May Die. I can't.
Hold up. We not gonna cut a joint. The motherfuckers don't rap. There's no rapping.
You got an intro? Nah, but hold on. What else has the same value of that intro throughout the album? Right? In other words, like, is there anything else that you could replace that with? And we covered the ground of what that brought to this album.
Homeboy with the spoken word energy. That vibe. No,
bro. That is not it. What, you just looking for anything poetic, bro? Get that shit out. No, bro. That's not it. Nothing covers You May Die. However, Over the Woods. The Woods. We got joints on the album that at least semi cover that, right? The whole first 5 songs, right? Like there's I mean, I'll even go as far as this on some producer vibes. I think that snare had already been used earlier in the song, earlier in the album. You know what I'm
This
saying?
motherfucker said, I think the snare has been used. This is what we doing right now?
Hey, man, we got to do
man.
this, man.
Over the
no,
woods.
I mean, MidaZ, if you vote to cut Over the Woods, then I'll be overruled. But I cannot agree to that. I cannot.
I'm staring at this right now. I'm staring.
What was the other
We got
verse, man?
You May Die, Two Dope Boys in a Cadillac, ATLiens, Wheelz of Steel, Jazzy Belle, Elevators, Over the Woods, Babylon, Millenium, Extraterrestrial, 13th Floor. Millenium? You cut Millenium?
Hold on, fam. All right, let me just say this. If we got to cut Millenium, so be it. You know what I'm saying? But the fact that y'all would choose to cut Millenium over the Woods is insanity to me. You know what I'm saying?
We just gonna cut the whole extra voice vibes off the whole album. This is not gonna be none of it.
What you talking about?
We're talking about Over the Woods. Like Over the Woods, isn't Over the Woods the joint that got
it's got
you got Witch Doctor on it. Like you got another,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like we done cut all the other rappers off the album already.
Man, hold on, y'all cut them. I was keeping them. You know what I'm saying? Like that was y'all. I said keep Cujo and Goody Mob. You feel me? Like
man, right? Shit, bro.
Hey, so if you got to make that cut, that's the, you know, remember as you did that. You know?
All right, look, because to me, we be cutting You May Die. The shit is 42 seconds. Like
What?
I was just dead it. With that being said, though, for agreeance sake, Millenium would be where I would go instead of Over the Woods.
I mean, I still think we should cut Babylon.
What the fuck are we? Who talking about Babylon?
I'd rather keep Millenium than Babylon. Those are the two. That's slots 10 and 11 for me. And if I got to pick which one goes to 10, I keep Millenium over Babylon. The hook is better.
Right quick. Hold on a second, bro.
The hook on Millenium is better than Babylon. The beat on Millenium is better than the beat on Babylon. And we already have the spiritual vibe in the latter half of the album.
Wait, Babylon's the joint with the hook I don't like, right?
That's correct.
Bro, y'all, look, man, I got to represent for the struggle right quick, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all, get out of here with that, man.
You know what?
With the hook I don't like. Bro, get out of here, man. What are you talking about?
But I will say,
Over the Woods right quick, bro.
All due respect to the great Andrea Martin, but
hold on, let me ask y'all this. Hold on, really quick. What is the okay? Hold on, let me just be clear.
Stop saying hold on.
Hold on. All right. What is the attachment to Over the Woods, right? That just like really making you feel like you got to force this through. What is that?
I mean, I told you that's my getting off the plane joint. I mean, that's what I'm in Atlanta to be when I.
What do you want him to do? Just sit on the fucking tarmac and never get off the plane? Is that what you want? He can't get off the plane.
You feel me?
Look, Over the Woods has an amazing beat, fucking amazing verse by Big Boy. It's got a really great verse by Andre. We got the Witch Doctor hook. Yeah, it's like.
Hold on. What is amazing about them verses?
What'd you say?
It's the vibe.
What is the amazing thought in the verse? What was so great about the verse?
Because he's styling. He's just styling.
Get out of here, man. Get out of here, man. Nah. It's nothing. Those verses was verses that could be replaced, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like they was nothing monumental thematically. And I say that, I love that song. I told y'all that's a top 5 beat for me on the album. But it's a top 5 beat. When I think of the lyrics on that joint, I probably know all the lyrics of that song. But I can't think of one line in that song that changed my life or that sticks in my head, that played in my head over and over and over.
You are falling into
with that great beat. Y'all need to go to the club. Go to the club and fall in love with beats, bro.
You are falling into the trap of what we talked about earlier. You are being swayed by the emotional response you have from really the first 2 bars of that amazing Andre verse on Babylon, but the rest of that verse is not as crazy. It's not.
You the only one talking about you appreciate the first 2 bars. I said I appreciate every. Look, man, it was on CD, right? So
I knew what you meant,
40
though. You think you're saying
41.1 kilohertz. I appreciate every hurt, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Every hurt?
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know nothing about just the first few bars. I know the whole song, bro. That's
Hey,
you.
man. Hey, you don't appreciate that. You don't appreciate that hook, man. If I had you on the a truth serum, you don't appreciate that hook, man. Pack that hook up, man. Get that hook out of here.
Nigga, that hook changed my life, bro. What are you talking about? I stared out the window saying that hook. I couldn't sing. I was singing the hook. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it could have changed your life more. It could have changed it more.
Yo, how about this? How much did Ova Da Wudz change y'all life? You know what I'm saying? It didn't change nothing, bro. Keep it real.
I just told you that 30 years after the album came out, I still walk around with that hook and that beat in my head several times a week. 30 years. And I'm not talking about like, oh, we were going to do this episode. Let me like put this back. This lives in my head.
It lives in my head.
Hey, I respect that.
Lives there.
And that changed your life. How?
It's my soundtrack. Music is important. I barely remember anything about my grandparents. I remember the beat to Ova Da Wudz. Still.
Fam, you never been to the woods, man. You like if it truly changed your life, you would have went through the woods to go over the woods, but you never experienced that. You know why? Because you didn't care enough about the joint. It wasn't important enough.
Man, you know I barely remember anything about my grandparents.
Meanwhile, we've been praying to Babylon. You know what I'm saying? It's whole, you know what I'm saying, Rastafari's cultures out here. Babylon, you feel me? Like, it's mad important. You know what I'm saying? So, come on, man.
Well, so should we just cut? Should we just cut Millenium then? Should we just cut Millenium? Is that what you want?
Damn, Babylon got to stay, man.
All right. I can live with a Millenium cut. Really, what we should be doing here, I mean, if it were a regular time of night, I would say we could phone a friend. Like, we might need to call Czar or something just to get we might need a tiebreaker dude in here. Maybe what we could do too is, this will be a fun thing to ask the IG audience when we put, like, this was the fight.
Yeah.
What y'all go with? But I think we could cut Millenium though.
I'm gonna resign myself to it because your boy doesn't want to fucking cut Babylon, you know?
He don't love the hook, but it's all good.
He has to watch out for the hook. Hey, you know what though? I'm gonna say this, man. Millenium was a great song, you know what I'm saying? But Windows Millenium was trash, you know what I'm saying?
You know what?
Just off the name, you know what I'm saying?
So we're just gonna ignore the Millennium Falcon and all of its merits that have been
shout out to
contributed.
Millennium Falcon. Big shout out to making a mill with them. You know what I'm saying? A mill in them. You know what I'm saying? Multiple mills. But
you know what?
Like, Windows Millennium was that bad, bro.
Windows Millennium was so bad that all things Millennium after that can be. We can move on.
Meanwhile,
and
nothing related to Babylon has ever been bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, no track record of negative.
And you know what? You know how you go over the woods? It's because you're on a plane and you need to get off the plane, and that's why he never went in the woods, because he went over the woods. Do you overstand what I'm saying? Do you overstand? I need you to tell me if you overstand.
From the underground, I understand, you know what I'm saying? I understand. I understand, you know what I'm saying, the over the woods, bro. Like,
wow.
Why?
I'm from
the cities, bro. I'm from the streets, man. Ain't no woods, you know what I
mean? we've done a billion of these episodes, and I don't think, and we've landed with more songs than we needed to several times. We needed to keep. I don't think there's been a harder get to 10 than this album. Like, with the extra song, like, we'll have 2 or 3 extra songs. Like, yeah, cut that one. All right, we good. Like, nah, bro.
And that's why I was saying, you guys were like, oh, great, there's 11 songs. Well, all we have to do is cut as one. This is easy. It's like, no, that's not what's happening at all. This was
well,
tough.
I just thought it was a foregone conclusion we was going to cut You May Die. I was like, okay, great.
Shut up. No, we're not, that's not.
With Sean on this, kinda, you know what I'm saying? when he said it was 11, I just thought it was an opportunity for you guys to be reasonable finally in your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I see you guys chose violence, you know what I'm saying? Also, I understand, like, you know, this is the questions, right? You guys survive off controversy, and you know what I'm saying? So one of y'all gotta have the ridiculous opinion, you know what I'm saying? And I assume that Ova Da Wudz is the judge, you know what I'm saying? To make sure that we bump heads and we produce great content for the internet, you know what I'm saying? But we all know, right? Babylon was never gonna get cut from this. You know what I'm saying?
I
There's
can't
no
wait
way.
to see what
Otherwise, hey man, hold on. I said I would get it tatted, right? You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, you would have to be like Cannabis and rip the tap from my arm. You feel me? Like it's not. There's no way.
I can't wait to see what clip, Sean, you decide to go with, bro. Like I truly can't wait to see what clip you decide to go with, because
I think I'm probably going to just use AI to have me disparaging some female singer who is on the record and just roll with that. You know, I want to continue the disparaging. No, I mean, look,
this
this was
time it's
great.
me disparaging the female singer, apparently, because
True.
you know, we could cut that whole hook off the album. Like it could just be cooked. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm good.
Anyway, we have cut the album down to 10 songs. It is You May Die, Two Dope Boys in a Cadillac, ATLiens, Wheelz of Steel, Jazzy Belle, Elevators, Ova Da Wudz, Babylon, E.T. Extraterrestrial, 13th Floor, Growing Old. Have we improved this album?
You know what? Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, because
remix at the end.
well, you don't need to check it out though. I kind of feel like you don't need the remix, you don't need Wailin, and you don't need mainstream. Like I don't feel like they're essential to the record. I think you could live without. I think we cut the songs that are not essential. You know what I'm saying?
No, man. My answer is no.
It would still be a 5-mic album. It would still be a 5-mic album if it came out. So
yeah. But if the onus is to keep it as good, we did that. If the onus was to make it better,
we did not do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct. We did not make this better. I don't think that anybody could have made it better. There's no way.
Fair.
But we want to hear what you think. So hop in the comments, scream at us, and yeah, well, this was great.
Kind of scream at us, but you know.
Scream at them, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm good. Don't scream at me. I'm from Memphis. Don't do
that. Scream at MidaZ and some white boy who's on the show.
Whoever this white boy is.